Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Ask Me Anything for the CrossFit Linchpin Private Track Facebook group. Today is August 12th, 2021. As always, members submit questions, other members upvote them, and the most popular ones get answered live each week. Today I'm taking advantage of the nice weather. Got outside my office. I'm sitting out in my backyard behind my house, so it's peaceful and quiet and nice right now. The sun's out. It's a great day. So we'll dive right in. We got a bunch of good questions to answer, as always, but some general things before that. Number one, so we're in August. Last month, Beyond the Whiteboard did its first challenge, like Earn Series Challenge, and it was Grace, Classic CrossFit Workout Grace. And it was a blast, right? You had to submit a video, and based upon that video submission, if some movements didn't meet the standards, you might have had some time added to it, or your movement was verified that the time you said you got it really did, and that allowed you to actually earn a t-shirt. Not just buy a t-shirt, but actually earn it based upon the time threshold that you really got. You could have done the workout scaled. You could have done the workout prescribed and got another t-shirt that just said you did it scaled or prescribed, which is great because scaling is cool. And then I think the thresholds, so the 4 levels were doing the workout scaled, that earned you a t-shirt that said that. Doing the workout prescribed, who cares what the time was, you just did it prescribed, good on you, that's amazing. That earned a t-shirt that said that. And then there were 2 thresholds for prescribed. I think it was 4 minutes or less, and then the fastest threshold was 2 minutes or less for Grace. So no matter where you were, you could do it in some way and get a really cool t-shirt. And I know it was a cool t-shirt because over the course of 16 years I have so many CrossFit t-shirts that it's ridiculous, and my wife is just, she just glazes over with yet another new CrossFit t-shirt. And I wore that one and she was like, it's a good looking t-shirt. I was like, alright, we're on to something here. So that was fun. There's another one planned for this month in August, so be on the lookout for that. I think it will be announced potentially tomorrow on Friday. Ooh, tomorrow's Friday the 13th. What a great day to announce a challenge. And it's going to be a fun one. I think people are really going to like it. And I believe it's a workout that we've done before previously on CrossFit Linchpin. So everybody has some exposure to that. So be on the lookout hopefully for one of these challenges each month. And Beyond the Whiteboard is being very cool and giving back to affiliate owners. So when you do the challenge, when you sign up and register, whatever gym you're associated with on Beyond the Whiteboard, they get $5 out of every sign up, which is really cool that Beyond the Whiteboard's doing that. And so that's where, when we have new members come on, we post how to change your gym association, and that is, where is it right here? Let's see. So you can update your association to CrossFit Linchpin or to whatever gym you want to roll with, whatever gym you want to support, whatever gym you want to get your $5. Maybe there's some gym on the other side of the world that you really connect with and you think it'd be great if they got $5 out of your sign up. You should connect with them. But whatever you have as your association, your gym association on Beyond the Whiteboard, that's the gym or affiliate that will get a part of the proceeds since Beyond the Whiteboard is giving back. So remember to do that. Go into the Beyond the Whiteboard app, click on Settings, then click Edit Profile. Then you scroll down to Association, and you must manually enter whatever it is that you want to have in there. The gym of your choice, CF Linchpin, whatever it happens to be. Then just click Save at the bottom of that screen. You'll be good to go. And again, just to be clear, you're not quote-unquote switching your gym, you're updating your association. So the association is going to dictate what happens with this challenge this month, what happened with the Grace Challenge, and what happens with challenges moving forward. So it's a really cool way to kind of give back to whatever gym you want to give back to. So pretty awesome and cool that Beyond the Whiteboard is helping take care of affiliate owners. So be on the lookout for one in August, and then I know the one that's coming up next month in September, and it's going to be really cool. And I know the one that's coming up in October, and that's going to be a dirty one. It's going to be dirty, but in a great, CrossFit way. So So that's that. All right, let's kick this off. First question is from Jared P. Jared says, I listened to a Linchpin conversation recently, and you said if you had a nickel for all the people who asked for more engine work, you'd have one nickel, right? Because everybody wants to just, hey, do you have more barbell stuff? Hey, do you have more barbell stuff? Nobody ever says, hey, help me develop my engine. Like he says, that if I had a nickel for every time somebody asked for that, I'd have one nickel. So, he says, what are some of the most effective workouts or workout types to build a good engine? If we wanted to add it to the existing program, you now have 2 nickels. Well played, Jared. Well played. So there are lots of good ones out there. You could just do a casual internet search for just, building an aerobic base or sprint programs. I'm sure you could find as many as you would want. I actually would enjoy helping Beyond the Whiteboard construct one potentially in the future to add to their specialty programs. As we all know, they've got some fantastic specialty programs. For me, since you're asking for me, what I would do is if I had an athlete interested in adding a little bit of conditioning, a little bit of engine work, I would think 2 to 3 sessions a week would be a good place to start if that treated your body well. And let's just say you went with 3, because that's easy numbers. So if I was going to do 3 sessions a week on top of what you're regularly doing for workouts, I would do 1 of those conditioning sessions with a focus of short time domain, 1 medium, and 1 long. That's simple, but it would be very, very effective. And we could get fancier and more creative than that, but you wouldn't need to for a really long time to get a ton of benefit out of that. And when I think of short sessions, as far as running would go, I would think of 50-meter repeats, 100-meter repeats, 200s, and 400s. I would categorize all those into the short domain. When I think medium, I would think 800-meter repeats, mile repeats, and even like 1.5 mile repeats. Or, wouldn't want to do too many of those repeats. Probably 1 or 2 of those would do you just fine. And when I think of long, I would think of long, steady state conditioning, like 30 to 45 minutes of just steady state cardio, so to speak, of just jogging, biking, rowing, low intensity, long time domain to just build that aerobic base. I would also, for all the things that I just said, from short to medium to long, rotate through air bike, rower, and running if you had access to all 3 of those. And variance is, again, a wonderful thing. So if we were doing 100-meter repeats running, and let's just say for a lot of people that took 15 seconds to run a 100-meter repeat, well, then I could, on the days that I swapped in or the weeks that I swapped in a bike, because maybe I ran last week, I would do multiple 15-second max effort intervals on the bike, with a couple minutes rest between each. You could play that same game with the rower. So variance would once again be your friend in keeping with the short, the medium, and the long sort of time domain. And same deal. If I went out and ran for 30 to 40 minutes on one week, and then a couple weeks later it was time to do that again, I might row for 30 minutes. I might bike for 30 or 40 minutes. As awful as that sounds, but that would be a really great way to do it. Let's see. I would also say if initially, upon assessing yourself honestly, just an aerobic base period really needs to be built before we focus on some speed training and things like that, then it might make sense to even have 2 out of those 3 sessions each week lean towards the longer time domain, lower intensity, just to build a bit of that cardiovascular endurance. That's all. And then once we have that set, we could shift it to, 1 short session, 1 medium session, and 1 long session. If I was doing only 2 sessions per week, I might have 1 long and then 1 short or medium, and I'd rotate back and forth through those. And you could also do some mixed modality training to have fun and have it fit into a certain time domain. So for example, if you could run, but you also had a bike and you had a rower, you could do a 21-15-9 of calories of rowing and bike, right? So 21 calories on the rower, 21 calories on the bike, 15-15, 9-9, and that would probably fall into the medium time domain. So that'd be a mixed modality, medium time domain, and you could play with different ideas and different variants like that and just have a blast, quite frankly. And again, you could get as fancy as you want with the progressions, with time domains, with layering on a bit of complexity. But most people would benefit from just setting something out for themselves and actually just getting out the door and doing it, to be quite frank with you. Actually just doing the darned thing, even if it's just relatively simple, will be so effective. So effective. So hopefully that helps, Jared. Again, now I have 2 nickels, which is fantastic. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here. And I don't want this to be taken out of context, because that's what happens sometimes, right, on podcasts or YouTube, is you say something summarized in like 1 or 2 sentences, but the actual why it is what it is far more nuanced and complex, and then people just take it out of context. You know what, the heck with it, I'll say it anyway. This should be taken with me saying that obviously I understand the CrossFit methodology. I understand what fitness is. I understand work capacity across broad time modal domains. I understand the importance of everything that we do and how it makes a truly well-rounded, fit human being. From metabolic conditioning, engine work, body weight movements, gymnastics, to moving external objects of Olympic lifting, powerlifting, everything in between. How we want to do that from short to medium to long, to light load, to heavy load, to 1 rep max strength days. I obviously get that. And in an ideal world, which is what we do every day with CrossFit Linchpin programming, I want all of those things. We're greedy as CrossFitters, right? I want all of those things improving and all of those things marching forward together with beautiful incremental progress that does not overtrain the athlete and leave them too tired, yet stimulates them enough to develop the adaptation. Get that, right? So now if I say, now here's the other interesting question. There's where I was going with this based upon Jared's request about extra conditioning. If some terrible person tied me to a chair and said, look, I know you understand all of that. I know that they're all important. Metabolic conditioning, gymnastics, and weightlifting. But I'm going to put a gun to your head, and you have to say that one of them, I don't want to say is more important, but one of them is maybe going to get a slight advantage. What would be the most useful in real life, bearing in mind that the CrossFit Games is not real life? Okay, that's very important to understand. In real life, just everyday life, police, military, the whole 9 yards, if you had this perfect pie, split 1/3 metabolic conditioning, 1/3 weightlifting, 1/3 gymnastics. And now I'm going to force you to say one of those 3 has to get a slightly bigger slice of the pie. Not a huge slice, okay? I'm not saying that now it's one gets 60% of the pie and the other 2 only get 20%. Maybe one gets 40% and the other 2 get 30% and 30%. You had to bias one thing. What would have the biggest payoff in real life? I would say conditioning. Conditioning, 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 without question. If I had to have a slight bias, now what I don't want is somebody to take, well, there we have it. Pat Sherwood said weightlifting's not important. Pat Sherwood said that, gymnastics isn't important. He said the only important thing is metabolic conditioning. No, wrong and false. All of them are important, and I do want all of them. But what I'm saying is, if we're talking about the real world, and if I had an athlete that, let's just say, had, and again, this is wishy-washy language, but we're just 2 friends talking. If I had somebody that had average strength and average body weight ability and slightly above average conditioning, and then I had somebody that had average conditioning and slightly above average body weight and average weightlifting, and then I had the third person that had average conditioning, average body weight, slightly above average weightlifting. If I had those 3 people, that each one had 2 that were average and 1 that was slightly above average, and you said you got to pick one of these people for just going into the real world and just doing stuff. You don't know what you're going to encounter. It's the real world. I would pick the person that had average weightlifting, average body weight, and slightly above average conditioning. Because that person is going to keep going and going and going and grind, and largely that's what's required in the real world on a very regular basis, that ability to just endure and keep working and keep working. So anyway, hopefully that's taken appropriately, not taken out of context. Again, we strive every single day to push all of those forward without biasing any of them. All right, next question. That was a fun little rabbit hole, though. Greg M. asked about games programming. This will be a simple answer, Greg. I hope it doesn't disappoint you. He just said, what did you think of the game's programming? I thought it was good to go. That's kind of my answer. Yeah, overall, I thought it was good to go and effective. I thought it did the trick, did what it needed to do, and yeah, really just that simple, quite frankly. Yeah, I don't have a revelation about it. It was good programming, and it selected who it needed to select. I did have a couple events I thought were really fun to watch and I really liked. I liked Event 5, the 550-meter sprint. Beautiful, simple, dirty. And I liked Event 9 a lot, that 2159 air bike calorie and a snatch that allowed you, just a power snatch just allowed the athlete to keep moving. You know, a beautiful couplet that it gave the people the opportunity to express intensity. Liked it a lot. Okay, next question. Oh, Daniel C., you asked if I could post a list of gyms around the world that follow CrossFit Linchpin for their affiliate programming so that when you're traveling you can pop in. Yes, and so I did that. So check on the Facebook group. I took a screenshot of all the list of gyms and it's on there for you. Okay, Chris L. talked about programming for competitions versus programming every day. Let's see. Okay, here we go. What goes into programming something like the upcoming Cascade Classic, and how are some ways it varies compared to our regular programming? So, good question. So for anyone who's unfamiliar, the Cascade Classic has been around like 7 or 8 years. It's a big CrossFit competition up here in the Pacific Northwest in the state of Washington. It will be held in Puyallup, Washington this year. It has a 3-week online qualifier event, which CrossFit Linchpin was asked to program those online qualifier events, which was a blast. It's the first time we've kind of been contracted to help program somebody else's competition, so that was fantastic. And then that online qualifier screens or seeds the people that will compete in person, I believe November 13th and 14th. So, okay, so getting back to Chris's question, you know what goes into programming an event like that? And does the thought process vary from normal daily programming? Yes and no. Yes and no. You still certainly consider all the fundamentals when programming a test, online qualifier events, things like that. A variance of loading, rep ranges, time domains, movement patterns, the complexity level of the skills, intentional interference, all that kind of good stuff. But then also for competitions, you need to consider who will be competing. You know, who's your audience? What level of athlete are you going to then build the events or tests around? Because quite frankly, it's really easy to make a hard workout. There's nothing amazing or heroic or ingenious about making a hard workout. Anybody can do it. That doesn't mean you made a good workout or a fun workout or an appropriate workout. So again, knowing who you're programming for, especially with these people showing up for an event, is a really big deal. It could be easy just to make everything a games level event, right? And then you just sucked all the fun out of the room for regular people, and they feel defeated, and why would they even show up? Like, hey, this event has freestanding handstand push-ups, paired with a 455-pound deadlift. Isn't this going to be fun? No, it's not going to be fun, and no one's going to show up to your event, and you just alienated 99.75% of the entire CrossFitting global community. So there are some things you want to keep in mind to make sure that what you're doing is appropriate and an appropriate test given the level of athletes showing up. So that's a big deal right there. Other things just to kind of think about in something like we did with programming these workouts for what will be the 3-week online qualifier series. They're going to release 2 workouts every week. I think starting August 18th is when that takes place. But since it was an online qualifier, well, that's going to require a video. So if we're thinking about programming this particular competition or series of events, can't really program a 5K. It just wouldn't work for an online video submission qualifier. So there are some logistical concerns you have to consider as well. There are ways to work around that. That's obviously not a concern in programming the workout of the day to get people fit. How long of a time domain is appropriate to have as part of an online qualifier when people need to have the ability and capacity to videotape what they have going on and upload that video, etc., etc. Again, not a concern day to day and not a concern maybe for an in-person event, but it is a concern for an online qualifier event. Maybe you could run a full-blown, as prescribed MRF in person, but MRF wouldn't work really for an online qualifier event because it would take an hour to do and obviously involves running, and even if you modified it to rowing or something, it just wouldn't work well. So there are some certain logistic considerations that are unique to the event that aren't really concerns when programming day-to-day workouts. And I mean, honestly, quite frankly, if we're programming an event, a test, a competition, you can make it, if you want, quite rugged, and that's okay because it lasts a short period of time. Maybe it's a 2 or 3 day competition, and then it's over. People can go home and recover and take a week off or something like that. So, you might have the athlete at the end of a competition feeling like they get hit by a truck. Well, that's just sometimes that happens with competitions, with really rugged tests. Well, you don't want your athletes on a day-to-day basis feeling like they get hit by a truck. That's not going to be sustainable for long-term health and fitness, which is why personally I believe programming for a competition or some sort of challenge like that is far easier than programming a workout every single day for a community of people looking to make smart, incremental progress in a healthy, sustainable way that improves their metabolic conditioning, their gymnastics, and their weightlifting. And also with a test over the course of a weekend, you're not necessarily looking to improve people's fitness. That's an entirely different deal. You're looking to just make sure you cover your bases in the test and then mission accomplished. So what people running gyms every day do, what we do here at CrossFit Linchpin, I think is far more of a challenging, sophisticated, and nuanced deal than programming an event. They're just different, that's all. Programming events are really fun, but this is a microcosm of it, but it does lend to this as well. It's way easier for me to program the Monster Mash each week than it is for me to program that week's training. Way easier to program the Monster Mash because, again, it's just slightly simpler to program a test than to program what is going to keep people moving forward in this beautiful harmony and symphony that's sustainable for months, years, and decades. Let's see. Yeah, so I think that would be some of the Well played. Kelly, I see Kelly's comment that says, well, most of us feel like we get hit by a truck yesterday. Agreed. Yesterday's workout of the 6-9-12-9-6 of the lateral burpee, the heavy front squat, and the chest bar pull-up, that workout was a grind. There's no doubt about that. That's also why today is a rest day. Whew. Yeah, that was a challenging one for sure. Okay, here we go. Moving forward. Next question was from Melanie. Melanie gave me a soft pitch right over the center of the plate. Where is it? It's about Annie Thorisdottir. Here we go. Her question is, how impressive was Annie Thorisdottir? Heard you speaking a little bit on Talking Elite Fitness, but I'd love to hear more. So yes, if you haven't, you should go boys at Talking Elite Fitness, Tommy and Sean, they're just good people. You want to associate yourself with good people. They're good folks. You go check out Talking Elite Fitness, their podcast or their YouTube channel, and I was chatting about Annie. It's a show with Tommy, Sean, myself, and Rory McKernan, and it took place Saturday, at the end of Saturday at the games this year, and it was fun. And basically what I said was, and especially I'm very conscious of what Annie has accomplished due to the fact that we have a 6-week-old baby in our house right now. I got to just, witness the full pregnancy, what it does to the human body, what it does to your ability to work out, how long it takes to recover, just the hit that women have to go through in childbirth is crazy to me. What the human body is capable of, it just blows my mind. But the road to recovery is not easy, right? That's an understatement. And so now you have Annie Thorisdottir. My timeline might be a bit fuzzy, but it'll be close enough. I think I said I'm sitting out back, right? There's a really odd bird that just landed on a tree branch. I don't know what kind of bird that is. Looks like it came from like a nuclear waste dump or some sort of reactor spill. It's a very strange looking bird. Okay, anyway, sorry. What Annie Thorisdottir did, I might get my timelines a little mixed up, but she had a child like a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago or something like that. And my wife, followed her pregnancy, Annie Thorisdottir's pregnancy, to some degree on Instagram. I did not, because, we're getting pregnant and all that stuff, so she was interested to see what Annie had going on, and from what my wife told me, it didn't sound like Annie had an easy pregnancy. It sounded like she had some serious struggles and issues going on. And so to take that, and then about a year later, not just be kind of like getting back in shape, kind of feeling good, etc., to qualify for the games is insanity. That in and of itself, she should have a parade. But no, Annie didn't stop there. She didn't just qualify or squeak in. She finished on the podium in 3rd place that quickly after having a baby, compared to most other women in the field didn't just go through that. So they had multiple years of uninterrupted, sustained, hardcore training, and they couldn't beat Annie Thorisdottir. Let that sink in for a second. That Annie Thorisdottir could get pregnant, miss all of those training sessions, or greatly reduce the volume, greatly reduce the intensity, greatly reduce the loading, then give birth, again, for what my wife said, doesn't sound like it was an easy one, so to speak, have to come back and recover from that, and she was on the podium. When that woman passes away, her body should be given to science. They should dissect her and just figure out, why is she different than other human beings? That's also why, I don't want to say that some sports aren't fair. That's not the right phraseology, because that takes away from her hard work, and that's certainly not my intention. But I think, like I said, maybe on the Talking Elite Fitnessing, there are some things in this world that should be universal, equally applied to all human beings. Liberty, justice, freedom, the pursuit of happiness. Yep, we're all in the same boat there. Your potential to be an amazing athlete, I'm sorry, all of us were not dealt the same hand at birth. There are many, 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 many of us, most of us as a matter of fact, that even if we could match Annie Thorisdottir's work ethic, which is huge, we still wouldn't be anywhere near as good as her, because there are just some people that are special people in the world of athletics. And you get those people that have that natural talent, and then on top of that natural talent, they have the discipline and the work ethic to grind it out every day in the gym and do what's needed. Then you see the superheroes. You see the superheroes at the CrossFit Games, the superheroes in the NFL or Major League Baseball or wherever it happens to be. You see that beautiful junction of natural talent and work ethic. And Annie Thorisdottir, there you go. So not only did she take 3rd, but there was 15 events at the CrossFit Games, okay? She had 10 top 10 finishes out of 15 events. 10. That's ridiculous. She had 4 finishes in the top 3. And she won an event number 14. She's a beast, what can I say? Only in the CrossFit landscape can you call a woman a beast and have it be universally accepted as a compliment. Annie Thorisdottir's a beast. Okay. Next one is from Eric John. Eric, this will be a simple one. He says, you going with Hepner or your fellow SEAL Bridges for the boxing exhibition? So, Josh Bridges, former Navy SEAL, and then Jacob Hepner, former Games athlete. They've scheduled to do a boxing match sometime in the future. I'd be lying to you if I said when, or I'd be lying to you if I said that I followed it at all. All I know is I guess they decided to box each other. Okay. I don't really care at all what occurs, to be quite frank with you. But I guess if I had to pick one of them, since Bridges is a former SEAL and I'm a former SEAL myself, and there's a brotherhood there, I guess I got to pull for Bridges. Good luck to them both. I don't know why they're doing that. I hope they have fun. Okay, the next one we have is from Jen. We'll finish out with Jen's, not so much a question, well, maybe it was a question, a request, a hope. Jen R., former leader of the Zombie Apocalypse team, the limited equipment option, but as we all know, Jen has also purchased herself a barbell, so she's got her toe in a couple ponds there. Okay, Jen says, since I programmed the online qual events for the Cascade Classic that's happening in November, could we do a Linchpin meetup at the Cascade Classic in November? I know it's been mentioned. I'm just wondering if that might be feasible. Hope you and the family are doing well. Appreciate that. So, yes. I think the answer to that is a yes. If anybody wants to and can go to the Cascade Classic, November 13th and 14th, Puyallup, Washington, Linchpin, we should show up. We should show up in force. It's less than an hour from where I am, so it's my full intention to show up to the Cascade Classic just to watch and enjoy and see people throw down. And meeting some actual Linchpin folks there would be the icing on the cake. Other considerations from real life, I don't know what time I'll show up. I don't know if I'll be there all day on both days because we do have 3 kids, and I know that on those days, at least one of the days, if not 2, our boys will have football games, and they will have to go to those football games, and I would be a terrible parent if I did not go to those football games, so I will have to attend my children's sports games, and then I'm also planning on attending the Cascade Classic. So the answer is yes, and that would be awesome. The other thing which I plan on attending right now, and it's not 100%, so I don't want to say that I'm definitely going to be there and break some people's hearts, but right now my plan is I want to attend the Rogue Invitational, and I believe that's happening Halloween weekend this year. Okay, so the weekend of October 31st, and I believe it's going down in Texas. And my plan is to be at the Rogue Invitational. Again, it's not 100%, but that's my plan right now. So, yeah. So that should be that. That should be good. That's all of our questions and answers for the day. And now we will end out with a few shout-outs from things that I saw that are cool on the Private Track Facebook group. These are just people post awesome stuff. I try to screenshot it when I see it, save it in a little folder, and then chat about it at the end of these AMAs just to celebrate the community a bit. So the first one was from Melanie C. And she says, today was a good training day. I didn't run the clock. I just worked on the skill and strength aspects. Today's wins. I finally strung some double unders together, getting 3 in a row a few times. Also, unrelated to the workout, but this happened today. I was messing around during the warm-up, and I am now a member of the full push-up club. Melanie, congratulations on starting to string double unders together, and congratulations on getting your first unassisted push-up, non-knee push-up, regular planked-out push-up. That's a huge deal. And I think maybe it's easy for some athletes who are not beginners anymore, and they've moved on to being moderate or advanced, to forget the struggles of first coming into working out or CrossFit when you didn't have a pull-up, you didn't have a double under, didn't have a push-up, didn't have a toes to bar, didn't have any of those things that maybe some people now take for granted. Getting those first reps for a lot of people is phenomenal and takes months of hard work. So it's very cool that Melanie got her first push-up. And a lot of those things, it's funny, it's so hard to get the first one, but then when you get the first one, you'll suddenly have 2, 3, 4, or 5. You gotta crack the code on it. Okay, next one we have is from Matt. Matt S. Matt says that Ross and I have known each other from the 6th grade, which was, by the way, in 1987. We were tight from then, and then through college, and a few years afterwards, lost touch for a while. Life got busy. Last summer we reconnected, and he started following Linchpin and doing the no equipment track. This year, during the CrossFit Open, and for the past 3 weeks, we have met early morning on Zoom to hang out and quote-unquote judge each other's workouts. CrossFit's all about community, especially this Linchpin community, and while neither of us will be going to the games, it's been a lot of fun to reconnect over fitness. So thanks, Linchpin, for helping a couple old friends get back in touch. Very, very cool use of fitness, very cool use of Zoom, and just, again, it really is what it is, right? Community. Okay, final one. From Teresa E. She says with an exclamation point, "So I did a thing. This is the first time in my entire adult life that I've kicked up into a handstand. I've done headstands and wall walks, but never a handstand. I never felt like I was strong enough. I was scared to try to do them. It was all in my head, though. Tonight I just felt like I could do it, and I felt strong, so I had a friend spot me in the first one, and it felt so easy I couldn't believe it. So I did the next few on my own. I held 2 of those handstands for over 20 seconds. The next goal will be to practice my handstand push-ups so I can actually do them in workouts. I'm proving to myself every single day that I'm capable of doing so much more than I ever thought that I could. And tonight's workout was my first workout ever with 20-inch box jumps. Fantastic. Thank you, CrossFit Linchpin, for all the awesome workouts that help make me strong and confident to do handstands." Again, so cool to have people of all skill levels, all ages, all everything, just progressing forward with fitness, happy and healthy. So that's the goal. I hope everybody enjoyed this AMA. Again, it is a rest day. I love and cherish my rest days. I will be relaxing. I think my wife will probably do some active recovery because it sounds like she overdid it yesterday on the front squats. Again, she's coming back after her pregnancy. She should have scaled the weight a bit more, but she did not, and she's paying for it right now. She'll kill me if she listens to this and hears that, but I got quite a kick out of it, so it's all good. Have a great day, and we will talk later.